I think I found a way to get help.
Welcome back everyone to my Halo Wars 2 lore videos. This one's focusing on Professor Anders, and at the end of this video you'll be all caught up with the Halo Wars 2 lore pertaining to Professor Anders, so stick around until the end. There are spoilers for Halo Wars 2 in here. I will be adding some cutscenes here and there, so if you haven't finished Halo Wars 2 or finished watching my playthrough through the campaign, I suggest you holding off on this video.
I'll need to get down there. Immediately, of course.
At the end of Halo Wars 1, we saw Anders and the crew of the Spirit of Fire entering cryosleep. Now I made a prediction at the end of Halo Wars 1 that Halo Wars 2 would see Anders covered in freezer burn, which is a blistering and burning of the skin, which happens when the person is covered in clothes inside of a cryo tube. But we see that Anders is completely fine. Now obviously we don't see much of her body, but we see that she's perfectly fine. So Anders and along with the crew of the Spirit of Fire wake up in the year 2559, which is 28 years after the events of Halo Wars 1 and 5 years after the events of Halo 5. Now Anders finds herself yet again enraptured by alien events, this time discovering that somehow the Spirit of Fire has been transported to Installation 00, which is the Ark. Now they got there via slip space. The issue here is the Spirit of Fire got rid of their slipspace drive to destroy the sun inside the shield world, so nobody really knows how they got there and it's never actually explained.
But just look at it.
What is it? And where are we?
No idea. Our astronavigation system can't pinpoint a location. We're not on the map anymore.
Anders is now Captain Carter's main source of intelligence and problem solving now that Serena has succumbed to rampancy. And rampancy is the natural ending life of an AI. It usually happens 7 to 8 years after their inception, and they just end up subdividing themselves to handle more tasks to an extent that they just can't sustain themselves anymore.
Regulations are clear about final dispensation at the end of an AI's 7-year lifespan.
And because of Anders' now super important role aboard the Spirit of Fire, she's refused permission to investigate the surface. Anders reveals that they have no idea where they are in the universe, and this makes sense in the timeline because the Spirit of Fire actually disappeared before the events of Halo 1. And we actually see the Ark Installation 00, which is where they are now, appear in Halo 3. That's where the main story takes place. And upon Installation 00, the Banished are setting up apparatus. I'll get into who the Banished are, where they came from and their leaders in another separate lore video, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe down the bottom. Now upon the installation they find an AI called Isabel, and she's from an abandoned research station. Isabel later informs Cutter and the crew of the Spirit of Fire about what has happened on the Ark, and suggests that they make their way to the cartographer after learning this information from Isabel. Isabel has told them that the Banished are using these teleport pads to teleport their armies around to counteract any movements by the UNSC forces. Going to the cartographer would be the best way to turn off the Banished main teleporter apparatus. After disabling the teleport apparatus, the Spirit of Fire is beset upon by a CSC class Covenant battlecruiser, which is the main battle cruiser that you see in the Covenant fleet.
Captain! Hard to do my best work like this. Can't we fight back?
Carrier just released more bands.
Are we fighting back?
We are, Professor. Let me handle that. You just give me the update on the Ark.
And in a last-ditch effort, Anders develops a plan to launch the emergency backup ring within the Ark. Just before doing so though, she disables the firing mechanism of the ring. So Anders develops a strategy to use the Halo ring's slipspace drive. However, she reveals that the rings can only go to set locations within the universe. So Cutter decides that they should travel to the one that the Master Chief, Cortana, Captain Keyes, and the UNSC Pillar of Autumn found at the beginning of Halo 1. And they know about this because of the information Isabel has provided them.
I think I found a way to get help. You can reopen our portal? No. We're going to make a Halo. What? I've discovered the Ark keeps an almost finished ring in its central forges at all times. It's an emergency replacement in case one of the other rings breaks down. Rings. You must mean galaxy-destroying super weapons, right? Well, on that front, I figured out how to disable the ring's firing mechanism. We can only launch it to one of the locations of the original rings, however.
Isabel, you said the Master Chief first found a ring near enough to reach. That would make it within range of a comms beacon. It could work. Anders, how long do you need?
12 hours, if my calculations are correct.
We don't have 12 hours, Professor. We might not have 12 minutes.
So as the portal used in Halo 3 to get to the Ark from Earth has since been closed, the possibility of it being reopened and used by Atriox, the leader of the Banished, is a major concern for Anders and Captain Cutter, meaning they want to eradicate all of the Banished forces on the Ark and the Halo ring, which has now been fired. They want to do this to prevent the Banished from using the portal to get back to Earth and potentially starting a new war. Now, we see that there is an interaction between Isabel and Anders that is quite different to the interaction between Serena and Anders. In Halo Wars 1, Anders and Serena had a troubling relationship, but in this one, Anders and Isabel seem to keep to themselves and just bounce ideas off each other every now and then, and they seem to work together for the most part, maybe because it's in their such dire circumstances that they're forced to work together, but it's not really explained, just their personal dynamics are very different. Realizing the threat of the Banished using the portal back to Earth, Anders convinces Captain Cutter to let her down onto the ring's surface, namely the control room, and as the Banished forces are now on the Halo ring, they're corralled into a small forest clearing, and Anders from the control room activates a system of the Halo rings we have not seen before, and simply lifts the ground up from below the Banished forces and slings them into space.
This works.
Immediately after, all human forces disengage and head to the rendezvous point with Anders and return to the Spirit of Fire. However, the ring immediately enters slipspace with no way of stopping it, and Anders is stuck on the ring and is transported through slipspace with the Halo ring. Now, the final cutscene of Halo Wars 2 shows Anders on the ring, dropping out of slipspace, and walking toward the forest and being confronted by what appears to be a Forerunner construct, and she remarks to herself, "Good job, Ellen. You may have been safer on the Ark."
Oh, good job, Ellen. You may have been safer on the Ark.
Anders is quick thinking on her feet, and she's also had a turbulent life, going from a civilian to a crucial crew member of the UNSC Spirit of Fire. Her multiplayer armies are full of Forerunner units after she reveals that she can hack them during a mission in the single-player campaign where she takes control of a Retriever Sentinel. Anders is forced to be reckoned with, and whether it be a leader of her own armies and squads, or if she is the commanding science officer aboard the Spirit of Fire and an integral part of Captain Cutter's operations on the Ark. That's the final iteration of Anders' lore, and now you're all caught up to Halo Wars 2 and Professor Ellen Anders. I'll put a link in the description to part 1 and an annotation on the screen if you want to go and watch that. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment below telling me what you think about Anders' role in the Halo universe. I'll try to reply to all the comments, so thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.